So hey guys, welcome back to another entry, wrestling related. So I wanted to talk about John Cena and the effect he's had, why he's disliked, why he's liked. Add my opinion, my own 2 cents into, I guess a more outside the box kind of take on him. Now I'm going to start with, people wanting John Cena to turn heel. Well, if you look at fans' reactions, he may as well be a heel. The issue with officially making Cena heel is it is more detrimental to the WWE's look in terms of all the work he does for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Sure, they can get somebody else. Sure, Stone Cold and Undertaker, Rock, Triple H, all the greats have turned bad. For one point or another, and and they just, if anything, proving you can be face and be a heel, a legitimate face and heel, and has even more ingrained them into, the superstars that they retired as. Everybody likes it when you freshen up your character. It is becoming more and more of a TV show. In a TV show, you play a bad guy, you play a good guy, you play an in the middle guy. But with John Cena, he is regarded as the most controversial superstar, which, I disagree with in the terms of he isn't so much controversial, it's the views of him, the fans that have made him controversial. He's just as liked as he's hated. You watch him on Raw and on any of the wrestling shows, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, It's like, do they actually... I'm sometimes a bit in between, do people dislike him or do they just like to dislike him? Much like Kurt Angle with the "you suck" type thing. That was more respectful. That wasn't a "we hate you, Kurt." That was a, let's all play along in this pantomime atmosphere that is, obviously like a fundamental part of WWE and wrestling in general. And anything you play a character, really. And to keeping John Cena as he is, what other superstar has ever had that reaction? To be loved and hated at the same time, and to be genuinely hated. I'm not talking about, stupid, bad guy beats up good guy, therefore, the fans boo him. John Cena is fucking booed out of the building and stuff, but it is such a reaction that I think turning Cena heel would be a bad thing. Yes, I want to see Cena. I prefer the Dr. Thugonomics character. That's when he more had my attention. But if I don't want him necessarily turned heel like a Randy or CM Punk, I want Cena to just be edgier. That's all I want. I think if Cena was edgier, if Cena, because when Cena does that cocky kind of smirk, which I don't think many people pick up on, that smirk could easily, be him being a heel. He doesn't have to go out there and, beat up the good guy or do it. He could still maintain his morals, and that's why, and basically freshen him up, sort of be this almost CM Punk kind of heel. CM Punk has not changed his character. CM Punk, to me, looks more fake and phony as a face or as a product face. CM Punk goes out there and just lays it on the line, tells the truth, tells the fans he thinks they're idiots, and I'm sure, the fans that CM Punk are talking about are idiots. They, he genuinely believes that, and that's fine. And if Cena went out there, and sort of Cena basically goes out there and says that I don't care what you think about me, I do this for C Nation. He is saying right there, he doesn't really care about, the overall universe. He cares about, the people that follow him, which is obviously a large part of the WWE because of who he is and he's a face of it. But yeah, so in some ways, if you actually look at what he does and how he does it, I don't really know if he, other than actually attacking the haters and the naysayers, there's not much he can do. And by ignoring the naysayers and the haters, he's just, is that whole thing we're taught in school, ignore the bully and they won't bully you again kind of thing, And at the end of the day, fans, kind of, as much as they do make a difference to a career, they also don't at the same time. Like, you only need the fans, like in kind of, I think wrestling's an industry where you need the fans at the start more than anything, more than singing, because the fans, you know, if you don't get over at all, if the fans just don't care about you, where'd you go? You have to be repackaged or sent back to development next, whatever, or end up, on the independents again, and have to relearn your craft or something. But when you break into WWE and you make it, it's as long as the fans have got behind you, and then there's obviously a differential between the fans, the universe, and just wrestling appreciators. I think there is a vast differential. But so you just need the fans to acknowledge you, to buy a bit of merch, just at least get it so that you're relevant in some way, so they actually know, oh, blah de blah is a WWE wrestler. He's not like for example, like an Alex Riley. Alex Riley kind of got over, but didn't really. And look where he is. He's kind of, I don't even know where he is. But with Cena, he doesn't. He's in a position now where I agree he should go against faces, but he went up against CM Punk, who's a face. I just think with the WWE and Vince that they just really, and I wouldn't like to be in their position, because he is an entity. He is everybody who dislikes Cena already dislikes him. The people who like Cena already like him. He's not out there doing goofy smiles. He's not being like a Sheamus kind of face. He just comes out there, does what he does, says what he says, does his job and goes home. And he does the whole Make-A-Wish thing. And yeah, I just don't think, I just don't really know how Cena could go heel, unless people want him to be a cliche heel who comes out there and just disses the the state they're in, disses the fans. I mean, also, sort of Cena could make a few more comments. He was a bit more edgy towards The Rock this time, thank God, because their first promos were just, boring as shit, and yeah. But then, so obviously after Raw last night, it looks like it's going to be Cena and Ryback, after Ryback shell-shocked him, which again is good. It's giving Ryback a bit of a nudge, a bit of a rub. So they'll test him against Cena, see how that fares, and go from there. But I just don't. As much as I do get a bit bored of seeing Cena do the same thing, kind of what did I expect? I mean, Hogan had about 4 or 5 moves. Stone Cold, he weren't a man of 1,000 moves. But if you look back on history, not many wrestlers who had more than 5 moves actually A, became a face of the company, or B, broke out of, transcended from the wrestling world. And that's what I think. Sort of Cena has that likable factor, whereas people like Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, who were great wrestlers, yeah, they were great wrestlers, and that's awesome, and they should be respected and Hall of Famed because of that. But they're not. It's a different generation. The generation today are entertained by just pure stupidness, by Kardashians on the TV, and the more WWE links up with all this reality TV shit, it's just making it worse, because you're not only pandering to kids, you're pandering to these imbeciles that care more about what Kim Kardashian has to say than what's going on in the world, the actual the relevance aspects and points and everything that goes on in the world. But yeah, so in conclusion, I do not think really turning Cena a bad guy is the way to go. I mean, have him edgy, have him still, there is no reason that Cena cannot come out there, tell it like it is. If he wants hustle, loyalty, respect, then he needs to me, fix up the respect side of it and say, look, and just tell the fans what, he kind of does it slyly and a bit sneaky when he talks to the camera. He needs to engage them and just basically, I mean, he could have such fun with the audience like he does. He already has fun with the audience, but he could do it in a much more, he could be so condescending and so sarcastic, and the fans, he could troll the fans so easily. And yeah, and obviously, as fans should know, Vince rarely gives in to what we want, and also he will do it on his terms. So, the only way really for me to see Cena being turned is if nobody cared about him, if people just mute when he came out. But that's not going to happen, you know. But he's the champion again. How long for? Who knows? But yeah. Obviously, he's not. He's kind of one of my. I quite like him. He's not. I'm not exactly a fan of his, but I respect his work ethic. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I've made a completely asinine remark or something, I'm sure people will let me know in comments. But as always, leave a comment, subscribe if you're interested, and yeah, take care.